Hey, kia ora, Helen Brahms here, coming to you live from Colorado Springs. Hope you're all having a super fantastic sparkling day. Well, before I get into the news of the day, how did your winning Wednesday go? Were you able in your mindset to find ways around obstacles, through obstacles, over obstacles, under obstacles, to get to the other side and get that victory of a win over an obstacle or a challenge? In your business, how did your numbers look? Were they increased over last week? If they were increased over last week, then yay! If they weren't, then might have a little bit of more work to do. But that's okay, you got to know where you're at in order to improve. Because if you don't know where you're at, you don't know your numbers, you cannot improve. So it's a win anyway. And then what about walking? Did you get out for a walk today? Did you go find a new trail? Did you walk faster today than you did yesterday? Did you go further today than you did yesterday? So how was your winning Wednesday? How did all that go? And I hope it's been an up and down day for me. It started off this morning. If you watched this morning's live, you would have heard about Zephy being attacked this morning, completely unprovoked, totally unprovoked. We were walking along and there was a T intersection coming up, and we were going to go across the leg of the T instead of the top piece of the T, in a continuation. This house was up ahead on the corner, and they opened their door and these dogs came out. They called the dogs back in. So I immediately stopped where I was, because I wanted to wait and see what was happening, because, anything could happen at any moment in time. And the way these dogs were behaving, I thought they look a little aggressive. They were big black dogs. I don't know what type of dogs they were. Don't ask me. I don't know. They were big and black, and solid, big, black and solid. And I thought about turning right and walking across the road that way instead of continuing straight ahead. But I was about 20 feet away from the corner, and I thought, no, I'll just wait here, let them get the dogs under control. We're not going to move, because if we move, then all of a sudden we could become a target. Well, it turned out standing still and moving didn't make a difference, because these dogs, they went back inside the house, they turned around, they came back out again. Even the maids were calling, because the maids were showing up to clean the house. The maids even called them back, the owner called them back, and they kind of circled back, and then I don't know if Zephy moved, but I know I didn't, because I was just watching everything. I was like on edge, ready to do whatever needed to be done. And all of a sudden, the smaller one of the two dogs comes flying across the street, flying down the yard and across the street. And I'm like, oh crap. It was a little stronger language than that at the time that I was thinking in my head. And the next thing I know, there's two dogs down there around by Zephy. She's yelping. I push one dog off. I scoop her up into my arms to get her away from them. And I was trying to turn my back, and one of them grabbed her back right leg. The smaller one grabbed her back right leg. Didn't break the skin. Definitely removed some fur, but did not break the skin. And eventually she let go, but there was no bleeding or anything. So the owner by that stage had got over there, hauled the dog off. Held the dog off. We're trying to look at Zephy, and of course poor Zephy's shaking and not sure what's the heck's going on. And I'm thinking PTSD for her, because her first 5 months of her life she was completely abused, not a good situation for her to be in. And all of a sudden she's getting attacked by another dog. And the woman was very apologetic and all that, got all of her details, offered to pay for the vet bills and all that sort of thing. And I just plonked down on the grass with Zephy in my arms and just held her and calmed her down. What was really cool though at one point, and might not sound cool, but it was cool, I thought, I've got to calm myself down, because my heart was racing. And I thought, I have to calm myself down. So I took this big deep breath in and blew it out. And as soon as I did that, Zephy takes a big deep breath in and blew it out. So I thought, oh, that's kind of cool. But we managed to get home back here again, got some pictures taken of her leg. I was shaking all morning, and as soon as I got back to the RV, I was a mess. I was crying. I missed my training call this morning because I was just too shaken up to even get online and be my usual super fantastic sparkling self. The sparkles were still there, but they weren't shining very well this morning. But Zephy is doing fine. We took some pictures. We sent the pictures to a vet who was a friend of Brenda's, and she came back and said, as long as if it's superficial and there's no bleeding, then just keep an eye on her, make sure there's no discharge that occurs, make sure there's no swelling or anything like that, or anything that comes from that. But she said if it wasn't open wounds, then to take her to a vet to make sure that there's no infection or anything like that in her. So thankfully, we are very thankful that they are superficial wounds. We just got to keep an eye on her for any swelling, any discharge that may start up. But she's got a couple of good inch-long scratches on her back leg, and one that looks like a puncture wound on the inside of her back leg, but it didn't actually puncture her skin, thank goodness. So we were very blessed to come out of it as well as we did. Yes, it was a horrific. I have never been in that situation before. Never. It was a horrifying experience, and I hope I never ever have to do that again, because it was. I'm thankful too that I stood still, because I figured if I moved, they would have come after us sooner. And of course, if we're on the move and all of that sort of thing, it could have ended up a lot more horrible than it was. So I am just thankful that we both came through it okay. Zephy seems fine. She's been sleeping most of the day. When she first jumped up on the dash or jumped down, she would hold her right leg up. But as the day wore on, she was putting her foot down and jumping, using it to jump and to land. So she seems to be good. She keeps wanting to go into the backyard, so she's basically been resting most of the day. So we're about to go into the backyard and see what happens there. But I wanted her to rest up a little bit. As for me, still a little shaken, still trying to get off it. Upper body is very, very sore from all the twisting I had to do to protect Zephy. So sore sides, sore back, but I'll come right. It's not going to be a problem. At least there's no injuries that we have to worry about. And if I have to suffer a pulled muscle to save my dog, I will gladly suffer four pulled muscles. I don't care. So that was our exciting start to the day, if you want to call it exciting start. After that, I had a training workshop for our medium makeover. That was a lot of fun. I got to interview a guy who does visual storytelling. It's awesome. And we were in a breakout room together talking about what he does and that. And we came up with the idea. I had the sudden flash of, with genealogy and stuff, is doing a visual storytelling of the genealogy, using you get him to do his magic with the visual storytelling and apply it to genealogy. And I thought that would be awesome. So we're actually going to get together and talk more, because we got kicked out of the break room back into the main room, so we didn't get that finished. But it was interesting. We learned a lot of cool stuff today, and about what was it? There was like about 10 different F words we came up with, all clean. It was like family and fun and faith and fortune and a whole bunch of other ones. And so that was interesting to learn about those. And then had my accountability call today. Well, it wasn't really much of accountability, because I had to tell what happened with Zephy this morning, and almost ended up crying again. But just been doing some connections today, working on some projects for genealogy. Got a really cool tree I'm working on right now. It's a lot of fun, me with fun and genealogy. I picked up a thread. In the haystack of needles. So we're just doing the gentle pull. Right now to see if it leads anywhere, or if it's a short thread and we've got to go look somewhere else for the longer thread. But had some fun with that today. And we lost power again today in the RV. I think we blew the breaker switch again, so it had to be reset, and then the power didn't come back on, but the breaker was working because the stuff inside the house was working. Turned out to be the cable didn't want to conduct the power to the RV, so we switched out the cables, and it's the extension cord that came out of the garage to hook up with my power cable. So that was pretty cool. And tomorrow night we get to go. We're going on a doggy play date tomorrow night with two, I think they're Australian Shepherds. They're going to be fun dogs for Zephy to play with, though. It's going to be interesting to see her interacting with other dogs again too after her experience today. We did walk past another house where they had this dog, and it sounds like a big dog because you could hear the nasal breathing in it, and it's kind of sounded like a very large dog. It just had that sound. And Zephy kind of like just quickly glanced and just walked on. Did a quick glance to the side and then eyes straight ahead, and off she went, walking. Although every now and again she was picking up her right leg. But for the most part she's been doing pretty good. So it's been an up and down day, and it's going to finish on a high note. I've got an accountability call left in about 45 minutes, and then followed by catching up with somebody I haven't spoken to for a while. So we're going to end the evening on a high note, and I'm about to go take Zephy into the backyard to see if she can run around. Oh, and we got the name of a campground that may have availability here in Colorado Springs, which is a rarity at this time of the year. So I'm going to give them a call and see what their rates are and everything else, and make sure that I can get AT&T and Sprint up there so I can at least get my phone and my hotspots working. But that's it from me for today. Yeah, interesting day all around. But and Zephy's been fine watching dogs walk past as well. She would like put her head up and just watch them walk past, and no usual whining or running around with them. So I think today's kind of had an impact on her stress wise. So she's been a little stressed and all that. So we shall see. But anyway, I'm out of here. Just got told dinner's ready, so I've got to go eat dinner and then get on my accountability call and get on a catch-up call, and it's going to be an awesome evening. I'm going to finish the day on a high note, and it's going to be super fantastic and sparkling. So have a super fantastic sparkling evening. We will catch you guys tomorrow morning with your challenges of the day for Thankful Thursday. And until tomorrow, hei konera.